Okay, hello. Hope everybody is doing well. And before I get going, I'd just like to say that I'm recording this on my phone because listening back to my last ramble, I don't know why. Um, I'm still not quite happy with the quality of the voice. And I don't understand why. I've messed around a bit with my recording software and then using just my voice recorder on my computer. And I don't know why there's difference in the sound because the whole time I'm using my AirPods, which I would imagine are decent at recording voice. You know, you talk on the phone with them and they're okay mics, I guess would be the term. But anyways, long story short, I've realized that I get the best quality when I just record directly onto my iPhone, and maybe that's a compatibility thing. I don't know. Um, anyway, so that's what I'm doing. So if there's a little bit of difference in the sync with if you hear the clicking and then it's not completely lining up with the video, I apologize. I've tried to start the recording and the voice recording at the same time, but again, this is a ramble, so the content on screen is not really the focal point. But yeah, just wanted to say that before I got going. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, I don't really have as much direction, not that I ever do for this ramble, but there is a few things that I've been thinking about and that I thought would be interesting to talk about. And I find that when you ramble on about it, it helps you understand it a little better, or at least you put your thoughts out there and your ideas, and then maybe over time you can reflect on them and change and refine them. So anyway, before I get going though, I guess I can just talk about the gameplay and what I've been up to. So playing still, which is awesome. I feel as though I'm only developing more momentum with my motivation and gameplay. I have been quite consistent, and yeah, I'm still crafting. I'm closing in on 50 mil, and then also ranged when I'm AFKing or not really able to actually play, but on my phone or on my computer at work, I'll AFK here and there whenever I have the ability. So that's been going up slowly as well. But yeah, still working on that. Maybe we'll switch it up soon here. I've been thinking about maybe getting these 99s, fire making and wood cutting and all that. And like I said in my last video, I kept them. I've been keeping them at 98, so I focus on the skills that are not 99. But clearly, I'm not taking that so seriously as I continue to get experience and post 99 and go for 200 mils and not really focus too hard on the goal to max. So may as well maybe get these 99s so I can fire make. And like I said, I like to do fire making and prayer together. I have these screen markers set up and I made a video on it. I don't think it's efficient, definitely isn't, but it's relatively good experience in both skills. So it's a cool method and I enjoy it. But yeah, I've been thinking about maybe getting those 99s just so I can, yeah, if I feel like fire making and doing prayer, then I can do that. If I feel like trying forestry out, which I still haven't done yet, I can do that. And but yeah, as of now, I'm still enjoying the crafting and the ranged. So that's what I've been doing. And then on my pay to play, I guess I could just show it. I've been rune crafting. I was hesitant to runecraft. I've been 98 for a while, but the price of runes are just so low now, which is cool for alching and using like splashing, whatever you're doing if you're training magic. But rune crafting as a skill is a lot less profitable. But wrath runes are still, I think, about 1.5 mil GP per hour, so it's not terrible. And I've been wanting to get the rune crafting skill cave for a little bit of fashion scape while I do some bank standing skills. I've been thinking about getting 99 crafting, cutting rubies because they're just so cheap. And yeah, just any other skills. Like I said, I want to max on this account. I think that's something that would be cool to have, a maxed just overall RuneScape account for whenever sailing comes out or new content. It's just a good foundation to try out new content and also just have an account that just can do anything and everything. I think that obviously is the ultimate goal for any account, to max and to have a pay to play regular, which is the most accessible account, I guess I would say. You're not restricted in any ways. I think it'd be something that'd be nice to have. So anyways, long story short, yeah, that's what I've been doing on those two accounts. And then also I've logged out. So let me log in real quick, but um, I don't know why, but I made this account a member and I've just been AFKing on it recently and getting a few HP levels, I guess would be the main goal on this account. It's a free to play PK build slightly, I guess. I don't PK ever on it, but that's the build that I've created. But the main goal is to have 1 defense and high HP for any castle wars that I do on the free to play on Dega, because I do have a decent amount of castle wars tickets, but I think it would be cool to have the full gold castle wars one day, and it's a good experience. I don't know if it's the HP. I know at one point it might have been. But when you're rocking the castle wars bracelet and you're rocking the flag on your other account, that your damage is increased. So I think the meta would be to have 2 accounts. I don't know if I'll ever make another one, but to have an account with high HP and 1 defense is definitely useful for that. And yeah, in the future I'll probably work on more Castle Wars tickets, and the byproduct will also be some pretty good experience in either melees or ranged, or you could even splash, I guess, but it's not as effective because you can't wear a helmet, you have to wear that hood. So you're not only splashing, you sometimes hit. But anyways, yeah, that's what I've been up to on the game. Nothing has changed too drastically, but yeah, still enjoying it, still playing lots. Well, lots, I feel like I'm playing lots, not compared to some, but still making gains, and I'm pretty motivated. I'm motivated to continue grinding and achieve some goals. And I'm just enjoying my gameplay, like I was talking about in my last video. This time around, when I'm playing the game, it doesn't feel like an obligation. I don't ever feel like I have to be playing, and if I don't play for a couple days, I don't guilt trip myself or anything. It's more so just the desire. It's the desire to gain experience, to achieve goals, and to continue to progress my account or accounts. And so it's a therapeutic feeling where I don't I'm not upset with myself if I don't play. I'm not putting a lot of value on my gains, but it does feel good to make the gains. So anyways, and on that note, I guess what I've been thinking about recently is just kind of the whole aspect of competition, I would say. So before I get into that too in depth, I guess I'll start off by talking about one thing that I talked about briefly before, but that is ties into this a little bit, is my desire to have skilling as a free-to-play skill. And then the big reason for that is I think it would be really cool to have the competition within our community to race for 200 mil, race for 99, set day records, month records, week records, all the likes, because I feel as though, especially in the free-to-play game, things are, well, probably the whole game in general, the rankings are quite solidified in a lot of skills, and I feel as though, yeah, there really isn't that level of competition anymore. Of course there's still races, there's still people are battling back and forth and what have you, but I think when a new skill is released, there's just that extra level of everything's new, you have to figure it out at first, so nobody's really efficient or understands what they're doing. But then also everybody starts from level 1, so it's a fair gameplay, or fair playing field to a certain degree, right? I would imagine that people who have a lot of free time definitely have the advantage, and those who don't probably end up taking the L, because at the end of the day, time just matters so much in this game. But yeah, I think it would be super cool to have a new skill in free-to-play, in my opinion. I know that's maybe not a widespread opinion, and some people would argue that it would take away from free-to-play or kind of change things a little too much, which I do understand that train of thought. But yeah, even for example, so I touched on this very briefly before. I don't know where it came about, or if it was just absolutely a random rumor, or if Jagex actually mentioned the possibilities of it, but I remember quite a few years back the talks of agility becoming a free-to-play skill. And even Slayer at some point, I swear I was hearing rumors, but I think that one was more so a rumor, whereas agility seemed maybe a little more legit. Either way, I can't prove, or I, I don't have any. I don't know for sure if this was just rumor or if this was actual talk, but obviously it never happened. But I do feel as though agility would be very, very cool to have in free to play. Um, it's a slow skill. It You can do things while you train agility. More so in pay to play, you can you do fletching, alkane, imbue, whatever. But and I'm sure some of you pro gamers would find cool methods to train while you do agility, like I don't know, prayer and crafting and other skills. But I think the biggest reason why I thought it would be pretty awesome to have agility in free to play is I feel as though I'm getting quite convoluted with this topic and this ramble, so I hope I'm not I'm going off on too big of a tangent, but I feel as though a lot of skills in free to play are not really, how can I articulate this? When you introduce Iron Man, Ultimate Iron Man, Hardcore Iron Man, and Regular, obviously the methods are different. So one thing that I've sometimes been a little bit less accepting of, well, not less accepting of, I totally accept it and I understand the reason for it, but sometimes it's a little frustrating as a regular to see all the Iron Man ahead of you in EHP or day records, whatever it might be, but they're gaining so much less experience than you are, and maybe they have banked experience as well. I don't think you can really do that on the regular mode, whereas say you're banking big bones for a couple months or ashes and then you just do a huge prayer day, yeah, you'll get like 500, I don't know, maybe 500 EHP in one day if you're just doing scatterbury the whole day. Like I could see it being that crazy, where obviously it took you those 500 hours to collect it, maybe even more, because that's not even efficient to bank bones and to bank ashes. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's obviously that discrepancy and difference in EHP between the game modes. So I find it a little difficult to have a very fluid way of comparing and having a ranking system. I do also want to take a step back in what I just said. I do believe that the way we have it set up on F2P Wiki and Temple, I think that's the best way to do it, and I think it's really well done. But at the same time, I do like maybe I'm just a salty regular, and don't want to see an Iron Man ahead of me and smithing EHP when they gain 100k experience and I'm gaining 3 million. Maybe I'm just a little bit salty, but I don't think that's the case. It doesn't bother me that much, and it doesn't bother me at all, to be honest. I just think that it's a little bit, not messy, but it's, anyways, I don't have very strong opinions or feelings towards what I just talked about, but what I'm trying to say is I feel as though agility would be a skill that is standard across all game modes. I don't think that being a regular would be an advantage while training agility, and I think that whether you're an Ultimate Iron Man, whether you're an Iron Man, whether you're a regular account, that all we'd be doing would be running laps, right? We'd be on the Falador rooftop, I guess, or maybe they'd add a few more courses. I don't know, but I think that you wouldn't be able to increase your experience as a regular. I guess the only thing that might change is energy potions, but I feel as though in members, you get to the certain point where you just don't run out of energy when you're running agility laps, because it's not like you're running straight the whole time. I don't think your run decreases while you're going through the obstacles. So that would be the only thing. But other than that, the method would be the same for every game mode, right? Whereas smithing or crafting is just so drastic. It's when, those two skills are some of the slowest on the Ultimate Iron Man game mode or Iron Man game mode, and some of the fastest on regular. So yeah, I always thought it would be cool to have agility as a free-to-play skill, because not only is it slow, so we wouldn't be 200 mil within a couple weeks or even a couple months, and it would be an even playing field for all game modes, whether you're an Ultimate Iron Man, whether you're a regular, and it would just be cool to see the race, almost literally, right? We're the battles back and forth of first to 99, first to 200 mil, and I think that's a pretty healthy aspect of any game or anything in life. And I guess now I can transition into my original topic is just the competitive nature of gaming and OSRS and how it really does play such an integral part in the game, in my opinion at least. Because I was thinking about it, you know, I remember someone said back in the day, I forget who it was, but they talked about, would you pay for an OSRS game if they say OSRS went offline? They said, okay, we're going to shut down the servers. Thank you for everything, but we can't afford to keep them going, or the game's dead. But then they offered a one-time payment to buy the game, and you could play it offline. So it wouldn't be, I guess, MMO, but it would be an RPG, I guess. I'm not too familiar with the terminology, but would that be the case? Right, you could play RuneScape just as we do now, but you wouldn't have any interaction. So it would be like the real Iron Man. Like no matter what, it would only be you in the world, and you wouldn't, there wouldn't be any rankings, there wouldn't be any other players in the world, so it'd just be you playing the game. So maybe kind of like Skyrim or whatever, right? These offline games, anyway, so I think that'd be cool. I probably would do that myself if OSRS ever closed and they gave you the option, say pay $100 or something, and you get OSRS as it is now, and there's never any updates. There's never anything except for the game as it is now, and yeah, you're just playing it offline. But I think what would be missing, obviously the social aspect is a big part of the game, but even if you're not really into the rankings and you're not really competitive, like myself, I would argue, I think that I just have never played enough or been good enough at OSRS to be super competitive. But I think it's always been something that's been in the back of my head. I've done a few day records, I've gone for 200 mils, and I think that competitive nature of a video game and many things in life is healthy, right? It drives you to want to do things better. It drives you to want to be more efficient or excel in a certain way, or I guess even just put in the time. And yeah, I would argue that a lot of people take that seriously, and even if they're not able to be number one or be at the top of the rankings, it's something that they pride themselves in, right? Their accomplishments compared to others' accomplishments. And it's just a way of gauging yourself in the world, right? I guess, even at a primal level, competition and everything is a way of, placing yourself within our world. So that's getting a little too philosophical for what I want to talk about. But yeah, I've just been thinking about the competitive aspect of the game and how I think it is very healthy. I know it's healthy, and I'm curious to know that if, it's very difficult. I would argue that it's very difficult to, at least for myself, to say that if this game was offline and there wasn't any ranking systems and there was no way to really compare yourself to others, except for maybe just verbally and by showing your account in person, would people have the same same drive to accomplish the crazy feats that they do, right? Would you be going for these 200 mils? Would you be PKing all the time and becoming one of the best PKers? Would you be going for these collection log crazy completionist goals if there wasn't that competitive nature of the game to gauge yourself and compare yourself to other players? And I think that is a healthy thing in gaming, where you can have a sense of pride and have a sense of accomplishment because you outshine, or you are at the top of some leaderboard, or at least aspiring to be there. And so I guess my two topics of this ramble, I know it's getting a little all over the place, and I hope that it hasn't been too all over the place, where it's still a little bit cohesive. But I guess that's why personally I feel strongly towards, I would enjoy having a new skill in free-to-play, because I think that that's always been something that I've enjoyed, whether it's actively participating in it or even just witnessing it. I don't think that I will ever be at a place in my life anymore that I'll be able to compete with some of you pro gamers. Like some of y'all are just so impressive with your discipline, and even obviously free time is a big aspect, but I know that there are some of you out there that are just so disciplined and good with your time management, and you just have that dedication to be using your time so effectively that even when you are living a full full load life, working full time, or you're a parent, or you're going to school, whatever you're doing, you're still able to, yeah, put in those hours and get those gains. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I don't know if I'll ever, I'd like to think I could, and I'd love to be a part of that, but you know, usually the top gamers are really putting in hours and they're really making it happen. But that's okay with me because like I said, I think that not only do I enjoy competing, obviously, um, I also enjoy witnessing the competition. I think that's also very inspiring. And even if you're not winning yourself, it pushes you and inspires you to make gains and to play the game in a certain way. Um, and it just creates that culture. I don't know. I think it brings people together, even though that you analyze what competition and battling and all that is. You would think it's a form of, individual and conflict, but I do believe that creates a strong community when there's that sense of competitiveness and that sense of just, um, because at the end of the day, people come together, right? You create new methods, new metas, and yeah, just like I said, even that you can't really quantify it, but that or articulate it very well, but just that energy that is emitted when the game is thriving and people are active. I guess that's what it is, right? The game it's healthy because people are engaged. People are working towards something rather than just mindlessly playing or not playing the game. I think that when a game is very competitive, you could argue that it's the busiest the game is, or the most active and engaged the player base is. So I feel as though I'm talking about a lot of things and maybe not making a lot of sense in certain ways, but it's just something that I've been thinking about. Just, I think that that's something I appreciate about OSRS over a lot of other games. I think that every game has their form of competitiveness and rankings and all of that, but clearly over time the community has asked for and got a lot more ways to show their accomplishments. I feel as though they never even used to count boss kills or clue scrolls, anything like that, and now there's collection logs. So basically the whole game you can quantify and count and just record your progress, which I believe is a big reason for the success of OSRS and why people continue to play. Is they add new content, but they also add new ways of competing within the game, right? I feel as though if people were just going for 200 mils this whole time, it may have fallen off a lot more if they hadn't added the boss kill count, if they didn't add the collection log, and they didn't add the new game modes, right? Because when you add Iron Man, or you add Hardcore Iron Man, Group Iron Man, Ultimate Iron Man, and maybe one day there will even be another game mode, it opens a new door for competition. It opens a new door to explore new metas, explore new ways of playing the game, but also a new, it revives that competitive nature of the game. So I think it is very important, and yeah, I've just been reflecting on it when I think about the new skill and I think about the direction the game is headed in and all that. And it's funny, it kind of makes me think of a thought that I've had before, which might also be another unpopular opinion, but I do sometimes crave that a little bit in the free-to-play game mode. But I need to be careful how I say it, and I also maybe need to reflect a little further with myself on this topic. But sometimes I find myself, craving maybe a little more of a completionist aspect to the free-to-play game mode. I find that it is, or I don't know how to articulate this very well, but I know on the free-to-play RS3 game mode, pets are free-to-play, and there's probably a lot more content that I'm totally out of touch with. But yeah, like I said, I think it is a healthy, and it just needs to be very carefully implemented in free-to-play. I feel as though our community and the people who play free-to-play are quite adamant about how they feel about the game, and it's a very small community, so I do feel as though it has to be done very carefully and properly. But I don't necessarily think it would be a bad thing for free-to-play to receive updates as the timeline goes along, that revive that competitive nature of the game, where the community comes back together and there's a race or races, and new metas are introduced, and new it's just a revival of that atmosphere, right? I think that has been an integral part of OSRS's success in general. So yeah, I think I'll probably wrap it up shortly here. I feel as though I've talked about everything that I've really wanted to talk about, and probably a little more than what I had initially set out to do. But yeah, I think that one thing that I've just been thinking about recently is just competitiveness, and that I do believe it's healthy. I believe the competitive nature of OSRS and the ranking systems and comparing, and you know has always been an integral part of the game, and how they've been able to successfully build upon that, I do believe is a big part of the success of OSRS, and something that I maybe have vocalized many times now, deep down crave for the free-to-play community. I'm not saying that agility or sailing would be a great addition to the free-to-play game mode, but I think what I do crave a little more is what it would bring. Possibly, I'm not saying that it would do that for sure, but I think that's a big area to compete in, would be a new skill. So I'm not saying that sailing, I don't know much about sailing, and I can't even talk much about it, so maybe it's a trash skill and like I just won't like it in general. But I think what I crave more, and I'm more keen on receiving in the free-to-play game, is that revival of the competition, revival of that there's something new that is a long-term goal that people can come together, obviously battle each other and be against each other, but I do believe that it has also the opposite effect of bringing people together and creating energy and engaging the community. So anyways, like I said, I'll probably wrap it up here. Thanks for listening if you made it this far. I know this has been, I don't know, I can't speak. I haven't listened to it yet, so I just hope that it has been an okay listen and that it hasn't been too all over the place. And yeah, just wanted to share a couple of thoughts I've been having, and yeah, expand on them. So I hope y'all are doing well. Like I said, I hope the gains are coming in, whether it's IRL or in-game, whatever you're doing, just keep at it and keep making it happen. As always, a lot of respect for all the free-to-players and anybody in general who play this game. I think this game is amazing. I just love OSRS, and especially the free-to-play game mode. So anyways, yeah, I'll leave all of you here. Thanks for making it this far if you did, and yeah, take care until next time. Talk soon.